delighted to say Martyn Irvine is with us in studio to talk to us about Felix English, who won gold in the scratch race at the UCI Track World Cup in Glasgow on Sunday. That's not a bad achievement for him, is it?
No, it's good. I mean, he's probably due it for years, you know. But yeah, it's nice to see a bit of the training paying off. You know, a lot of the guys spend a lot of time out in Mallorca where we train, so it's nice to get something back for all the hard work.
Okay, we'll go into him in a minute because you bring up Mallorca. Why do you train in Mallorca?
Because the weather's nice. And there's a velodrome. There's a velodrome there.
Yeah. So we don't have a velodrome.
Yeah.
But we're getting one.
Apparently so.
Right, what's the story?
So all I know is there's a pot of money allocated for velodrome out in the sports campus. And I was the first to say I'll believe it when I see it, but there was an army of people in Glasgow last week looking at the hows and whens and who's and ifs. So it looks pretty real. I think it's to be, like, they want it to be started this time next year, so it looks more promising than ever. So
started in 2020 and then maybe finished by, does it take a year? Does it take 2 years?
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know.
How long would it take to build a velodrome?
It's years anyway, I would think. I really
would it
do
be?
think. I would think so. I mean, there's a lot, obviously there's the wooden part, which is special. There's lots of degrees and all this sort of, and then the actual arena and whatever facilities around it, yeah.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Will that be a transformative moment in Irish cycling?
100%, yeah. I mean, we have good track cyclists because they're people who find out later in life that they like cycling, and then they go off and find a velodrome and then try and get good at it. But if you were on a velodrome from this, you know, from knee high, you'll just have all these skills just bed into you that you don't even know, you know, and we'll just have better bike riders right up.
When did you discover that you were good and wanted to go and?
I'm still questioning if I'm any good, but sure, I didn't start till I was 18 really, proper riding a bike. So there's 10 years lost of skills and everything.
Just going to say you're up against people who probably start at what, 6, 7, 8.
100%. I mean, there's kids in Mallorca where we train like once or twice a week. You'll see, I think it's like a school comes in and they can barely get on bikes. You can barely get bikes to fit them. You know, they're tiny.
But they're zipping up and down.
And they're flying around to scare you, like, yeah, it's amazing.
They have no fear at that age, though.
Fearless is right, yeah. And then that's the sort of thing that we're lacking in a group, you know. You just talent shines through eventually, but if you had like 100 people to throw at it, you'll get 1 or 2 good ones.
Yeah.
You know? And if you had thousands, it'd be even more.
Our tradition of cycling is surely something, and the growth in cycling in Ireland over the last 15, 20 years, it's become a massive thing.
Yeah.
Within that, when you kind of filter it down, there's bound to be some people who are talented at the track. We just don't have the facilities
100%, to. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, cycling now is becoming a victim of its own success. There's so many accidents. There's just loads of people doing it. So, and even in my head, the velodrome is like a safe place to just throw a load of cyclists and let them train away there. Even for kids too, you know, it'll definitely boost high performance and just general cycling activity, I think.
Can you take us back then, sorry, briefly to your own bit, what were you doing between 8 and 18 that you were obviously fairly proficient in sport and quite athletic to the point where you can then take up track cycling and become a world champion?
I was just getting up to no good, running around just getting up to no good, doing no sport. Like, I hated sport. Like, I've said all this before, but like, I hated PE. I hated any sort of sport in school, but it was always running about the place. So activity, and then I just happened to stumble into cycling when I was working as a car mechanic. It was just people I knew got me into it, and I was stupid enough to keep doing it, and it paid off eventually. But
so you'd no athletic training?
No,
you didn't?
No, absolutely.
Did you run as a kid? Did you just row?
Like, if I ran upstairs, I thought I was doing well. You know, it was really, I didn't do anything.
You just hope for it all.
Yeah. And then,
so the first time you get on a bike, what happens? Like, properly, someone gets you a nice bike and you're like, "Oh, this is..."
Well, it was a slow, I want to say slow, probably happened over a few months. I just liked the feeling of hurting myself. Like, it sounds stupid looking back, but there's a sense of achievement or something, you know? And then, like, I never even, where I lived in Ards, I never even got out of town. And then when I was cycling, I just got out of town. It was like, and then within a year, travelling all over the place, it was brilliant. So I look back with fond memories in the old cycling game, yeah.
I'm sure, because when you finished, was it automatic that you were going to go and become a coach? Not
at all, no. There was limbo there, you know. There was no, I suppose, with the small nation we are, we don't have a big factory of people to throw people back into, you know. So it's a niche setup, so I'm kind of lucky to get back into it again.
How did that happen?
Just good timing, I think. There was a coach coming out as I was on the road then, on a road team, and it kind of went sour. So I was idle for a few months. I had no job for a while, and then all of a sudden there was this track opportunity, and I was like, I know how track cycling works, and then it just natural sort of, it's obvious pathway.
Right. So loads of people go, I want to be this thing, but actually learning how to become a coach and coaching people well.
I'm very rookie as it comes to coach. I know how I did it. It's managing people's the hardest part now. So you've got egos and expectations of other people that you got to try and manage. So
yeah.
I'm very much struggling with that at the minute. Yeah.
But who do you turn to for help?
There's head coaches, and there's even your peers. There's other coaches at the track. There's a coach, the performance director, a minute coached me and went back. He goes right back since I started cycling. So there's always friendly ear around. But like I say, it's a handful of people.
Is this officially the Irish setup?
Yeah.
It's all part of Cycling Ireland. Is that the
Cycling Ireland? Yeah.
Okay. So you're an employee of theirs, and because Majorca is the best place for the weather and the Velodrome.
It's great weather. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but it's not, because, like, even as me coaching, I've been home like 15 days in the last 6 months. It's barely home. So I have a wife at home. So that's just me, but that's my choice. But for the athletes, they're living away, and on your downtime, there's nothing really to do unless you're good at Spanish.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, we lack that. We could be better high performance because we're sacrificing so much. It's very tunnel vision. So not a lot of people can do that. That's sort of one single-minded. Well,
I mean, it has mental health issues. We've seen that with anybody who goes touring or
like I wouldn't say I was really depressed, but you go into the doldrums, like when you have a lot of downtime or bad results or injuries.
When you were competing?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's very, very much a roller coaster.
You have a lot of spare time to be thinking about things that went wrong and over ruminating it, not coming up with the right kind of thoughts.
That's the worst time. The idle time. There's for all the hard work you do, there's 10 times that of rest. So you're a lot of time to sit and think.
And would you have your rest time ever kind of segmented out, like you're going to do this for this hour, that for that hour, or was it just go rest and then you were kind of left to your own devices to rest?
Just going. That's what made me really good. I was really good at being lazy, so I could just rest. And I swear, that's where I think I got good, because when I rested, I just lay about like a sloth, and I think that helped me. But it's not for everyone. That's pretty extreme.
So tell us about Felix winning at the weekend. Then he's been 4th and 5th at about 12 different World Cups.
It's probably an insult what I'm going to say, but if I had half the talent Felix had, I'd be world champion a few times over, I reckon. He's just got this natural track craft, and he's fast. Yet he's just not had the breakthrough the last few years. Even for me, when I was out of the system looking in, you'd see him getting nearly results. So it's definitely long overdue, that, for Felix. And then when it all clicked right for him, he was a level up on that race. It was good to be there. I was a track coach. I was trackside helping him out, so it was good to be standing there looking at that. Yeah.
What point in the race do you know it's going to happen when you're watching?
I think halfway through he had a lap on there, because there's only 250 metres around. So if you can go really quickly for 250 metres, you can get a lap up on the bunch you're in. So he got that straight away, and then he got another lap up. So there was only 1 or 2 people who was racing. So it was really easy to watch and follow. It was like almost a guarantee by halfway that we had a medal anyway. So it was nice to be there. Yeah.
And for him, is this the big breakthrough?
I'm hoping that's a mental switch for him, because he's been like just banging his head against the wall, and now with the Olympics coming down the barrel, a nice positive result should get him going in the right way. He can, hopefully that's a boost mentally, that he can just kind of carry that momentum into the rest of the season.
How many can we qualify for the Olympics? What's realistic?
I think realistically we could have like row and track, or just track?
Just track to start with.
You definitely, so the Madison is the main Olympic event that we focus on, which is the pairings with the hand sling each other in. So that 2 pairings is best case scenario, I think.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would that be the first time we've had 2 pairings?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've only ever had one track athlete the last 3 Olympic cycles. I was one of them. Shannon McCurley was one, and then I think David O'Loughlin back in Beijing. So we've only ever had 1 representative. So
so that would be
even half of that quota filled is 100% up on the years before. So
yeah.
But when you think about it, when you're competing against the best in the world in a 4-year cycle, you don't even have a velodrome. To just have one in there at all is quite an achievement.
Yeah, that's the whole other element. It's just special people that have to go in real tunnel vision to focus on it, because it's not like the British have a heap of people who can throw at it. So it'll definitely be a good achievement if we get that.
Track cycling's mad, right? It's mad. It's a mad thing to do. It's a mad thing to be attracted to. It's a mad thing to even find out about.
All day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you even find out about it? Like, did you not want to be a road racer?
I was road racing in Belgium, trying to be the pro, you know,
Yes.
and then I got sick of that, and there just happens to be a Velodrome over there. And like I say, the performance director now was a coach back then who said, "Why don't you try this track thing?"
Okay, so you were kind of scouted.
Circumstance, pure circumstance, yeah. And then I wasn't bad at it, and then it just kind of. I think that was even Beijing when I started. I came in really late into that Beijing cycle, like on like 21 or something, and then I just haven't stopped since.
It is a type of thing where you watch the Olympics and it's class, and then everybody forgets about it again until it comes on again in the Olympics, particularly in this country because there's nowhere to try it. So, like, generally, there's an argument being made historically that we're very well served with most sports facilities in this country. What we need are coaches to come and inform people how to use the stuff when they get there and to progress. With this, you can definitely see the case that if you build it and give people the example of it and open it up to the public, like, it must be cool to cycle in the Velodrome.
It's see once you do it, there's very few people I've seen. I'm not doing that again. There's such a buzz from it because just the banking's like you're up 2 stories on it when you're on the fence, you know, from the ground, and the momentum on it is awesome. The speed is awesome, and it's kind of like adrenaline buzz. And I think it's like even if you look at the British system, if you go back to the 90s, they had no tracks, and then they just started putting money in there, and all of a sudden. They're dominant. They're really dominant. So.
They are really dominant. There are some reasons for their dominance that are beginning to become a bit clearer this week from the Freeman and Sutton stuff.
I suppose maybe that's a victim of their success, but at our level, it's all just hard work that's getting our little few eager beavers to get the results. You know?
Is everybody gossiping about the Freeman and Sutton stuff around the track? Is it like, oh, did you see what happened today?
No, to be honest, not at all. It's literally a bubble we're in, and I don't even know what time of day it is when we're at the track. The last in Glasgow, Minsk, there's a lot. This is our World Cup season, so we're just in our job, focusing on what we're doing, and I couldn't tell you what's going on in the world, to be honest.
I mean, are you interested in what's going on in British cycling? Because they come out and they were like, oh, look at us, we're the best because we're the best, and we do this and we do this, and you're never going to catch us. And now it turns out that we can't believe anything that they've been up to.
That's just a bad side effect of being British, I think, isn't it? I think they'd be saying that either way, but no, we'll just stick to what we were doing. And even when I did it, I was a firm believer of if you wanted enough and hard work, and if coaches are in the right place and kind of help you.
Yeah, and so as an athlete now, though, do you still believe that when you look back at the people who might have been beating you and think, because like various people, I did a thing with Jessica Ennis recently, and she won a gold that she got retrospectively, and it was like it's not quite the same, you know, and. There's definitely the sense of having had stuff taken off you that you didn't, that you deserved, that you'd done the hard work for.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose what can I control of that? You know, I mean, it's your own scruples, isn't it? It's what we. There's a bad. I think it's almost a bad side effect of being Irish now. Is you're just the guilt will get you, and that's kind of where I think I couldn't look you in the eye if I was cheating or that's the way I looked at it, and that's the way I think the majority of Irish athletes are. So. Do you feel like the athletes need to talk about it? Because Kieran McGean comes in here and says, you know, the time that won the race that I ran in, I'm never going to be able to run that time clean. And I'm not sure that a lot of people in the world can run that time clean. And she's actually out there saying, this is ridiculous. Like, those cheats, the Oregon project is dirty. Like, all that kind of stuff is happening now. And it feels to me like we all need to be able to get behind the people who are wearing our jerseys, and we're desperate to get behind them, but we just need to have that kind of sense that, okay, we're all in this together. And the point you make about Irish athletes, it'd be great to hear a bit more from the Irish athletes like Ciara. I think it is. I think that the momentum's going that way. The lid's being lifted on things, and people are being more vocal. I mean, I think we're going that way now. That there's more and more stories coming out, and I think it's only natural that eventually they'll get caught. Obviously, careers have come and gone while people have been cheating, but we can't change it. We just need to keep, like you guys talking about it now, we need to make it more public and make it more of a point. I
want the athletes to be more vocal too, because I can definitely get behind them. I don't care if an Irish athlete finishes 7th, but they reach their absolute peak, and we think that 7 ahead or 5 of the people ahead of them are cheating. I don't mind if we're not the best in the world, but if we're doing the best that we can do clean, and our athletes are properly advocating for clean sport, then we can all get behind that, and we can all continue to invest in that time and energy and resources and the love of the sport.
I think the more common it is to talk about it, and the more sponsors will want to talk about it. Obviously, that's the problem. Athletes are scared to say anything in case some sponsor goes, "Oh, I don't
and that's
want that."
the trouble, isn't it? You're finishing 5th and 6th instead of 2nd and 3rd or 1st, and therefore your sponsorship isn't as big as it could be, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
you're in that catch where you're like, if you say something, you get nothing. But I suppose if you're twisted in mind, you need to do this to be there, and that's the kind of catch people are in. But like I say, that Irishness in a lot of us, we don't want to do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What's the rest of the year like for you guys?
Manic actually for the track. I'm home for a whole 4 or 5 days here, and then we go Hong Kong, New Zealand, Australia, and then home just for Christmas.
Right.
So there's 3 World Cups on the bounce.
In between now and Christmas, wow.
Yeah.
That's quite the air miles.
It is. Yeah. So I'm going to be working this weekend to do a little week of training, packing, and then on the road show.
Right. Well, listen, when will we find out about the 2 Madison teams? When is that qualification?
I suppose you'll know after Christmas. It goes right up to the World Championships in February, so that's the official deadline. It'll probably, on track cycling, it'll go to the wire, so it'll probably be next February before it's locked up.
Well, listen, best of luck with that, and thanks a million for joining us today.
Thanks a lot.